Hello, we are Team One, and this is our Project 3 Craigslist redesign. My name is Jackson, and along with me are Henry, David, and Connor. So an overview for our project. In our secondary research, we conducted a trend review, an interface inventory, a couple competitor analysis, and a heuristic evaluation. We also created a mood board, and we used that mood board to create our style guide. We took 3 mock-ups and created them based on the tasks that we got from our heuristic evaluation. For testing, we tested participants using photos in a Google form, and we collected our data and compiled it together to see our overall results. And then after completing the testing, we discussed what we would like to do next. And now David will talk more about our proto persona.
Our proto persona is Max Kepfer, a senior at Purdue University. He is interested in technology, likes to shoot photography, and is a big part of Purdue's birdwatching club. And for our scenario, we wrote out that Max would like to sell his Canon DSLR on Craigslist. Moving on to our secondary research.
For our secondary research, we conducted an interface inventory, a trend review, and a competitor analysis of Amazon and Facebook Marketplace. We found places like these have better organization, more visually appealing colors, and a better overall sense of trust. Now Connor will speak more about our problem.
So to find our problem, one of the tools we used was a heuristic evaluation, where we simulated the user doing 3 different tasks and looking at the heuristics involved. So the first task was the user searching Craigslist to find similar items so that he would know how much to sell his camera for. The second was the user putting a post on Craigslist to sell his camera. And the third task was the user creating an account. Some key heuristics we found from this were aesthetic and minimal design and error prevention, which both point towards the idea that there's a general sense of clutter on Craigslist, whether it comes to menus, spacing, or unnecessary search results given. So now we're going to move on to the mood board with Henry.
So as we mentioned before, that some of our main issue is that our user group have with the old Craigslist design is that it's very wordy, not organized, and it's very confusing. Thus, we're trying to create a mood board to achieve a sense of more futuristic, simplicity, and straightforward website. Our main goal is to decrease the wordiness by the symbols and adding futuristic fonts and organize the contents. By having these elements, it will not only elevate the overall aesthetic of the website, but it will also help with error preventions because all the contents will be more organized and straightforward. Moreover, the reason why we chose purple as our main color is because the original purple Craigslist logo is used to symbolize, this color used to symbolize the original Craigslist. Thus, we want to reuse this purple color for the future mockups. And for the style guides, we want to focus on switching the font to a more modern Futura font and replace all the unnecessary words with universal symbols. And by having different size and font for the headings, also allow us to better organize the content. Now David is going to talk more about mockups.
On the left-hand side, we can see Craigslist features a bleak, non-visual design. We wanted to skew away from such a bleak page layout, walls of text, and a messy clutter, and cater towards our selected persona's age group. On our right, we can see a 4-grid design and large blown thumbnails to visually appeal to the target consumer. These are the elements that we aim to incorporate within our redesign. We took inspiration from the design of Poshmark, a used goods online marketplace, as we felt that it provided a clean, organized, and engaging first appearance. Now, moving on to our tasks, keeping our persona in mind. Our mock-up displays our redesign of a few pages that our user may run into along their way. As we mentioned in our heuristic evaluation, we had a few tasks that we decided to design our pages around. And for these, we felt that these 3 pages would best represent our persona's goal of selling his camera. So moving on to our testing.
For our testing, we created a Google form. The goal of the testing was to help us compare Craigslist's current design with our mock-up. We came up with 7 pairs of opposing words for the participants to choose from. The participant will look at 3 different pages pulled directly from Craigslist and 3 pages we made up in our mock-up. The participant rates each page based on the words they see and explain their reasoning. Now to Conrad to talk about our data collection.
So with our data, we can see the Craigslist pages versus the mockup pages in terms of where their data points fell. When looking at the Craigslist pages, we can see that a lot of their points pull towards the right, which is the more negative words, and that the data points seem to have a larger spread across how our test participants felt about the different pages. Now the mockup pages seem to not only pull to the left, but completely flip across the center in relationship to their data points. We can also see on mockup page C versus Craigslist page C that there is a tighter spread of data points, possibly showing more consistency from our data and in our mockup pages. So now we're going to move on to our next steps and conclusion. So our next steps would be to evaluate the feedback from the open-ended interview questions and to revise our mockups based on those. Also looking for aspects of the data that indicate other areas of improvement that may not come from the interview questions or from maybe a face value of the data, like more consistency with less spread. And also creating more mockups throughout the rest of the site to further improve the Craigslist experience. So our conclusion is that our secondary research, heuristics, mood board, and style guides were invaluable in our creation of this solution, and that our mockups tested very well, and they indicate a very significant improvement in the Craigslist experience. Thank you.